Our trip to China this summer with the Chinese Summer Links program has helped us to majorly improve our knowledge of green energy and especially China's part in it. China is a world leader in green energy effort, and if China can eventually go majorly green, its environment would greatly improve. In this project, we aim to address the chemical and environmental cultural aspects that can influence China's green energy efforts. To begin, there are different problems that happen when dealing with the chemistry involving green energy. One of the main problems would be trying to figure out what kind of pollutants are in the air that is making the air worse. The main pollutants would be carbon monoxide and lead. Other questions would be, what do countries do to keep their air cleaner than China? For one thing, China is very heavily populated. There are so many people in China that it has gotten to a point where just the sheer population could be a huge contribution to the pollution. Smog in China has become Smog in China in many cases includes pollutants from industries and traffic, but it tends to happen more often in the winter, when plummeting temperatures cause electricity demand to soar. This pollution can come from many sources like burning coal, and has been linked to the largest number of air pollution deaths in China, causing 300,066 premature deaths in 2013. Outdoor air pollutants involve exposures that take place outside of the built environment. Examples include fine particles produced by the burning of fossil fuels, for example, the coal and petroleum used in energy production. Noxious gases, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, carbon monoxide, chemical vapors, etc. To fix this, China could focus even more heavily on green energy ideals. Although they are already really far ahead of green energy rates, if they would stop using non-reusable resources, they would be even better off for it. In this diagram, it shows all of the different countries and how much green energy they use compared to China, and China uses the most.
The environments of China and America are very different, which result in very different approaches to environmental reform. One of them is that Chinese farmers set fire to their crops to get rid of surplus and fertilized fields. This creates lots of carbon dioxide, which can create a massive amount of pollution. In America, however, lots of farmers till their fields to accomplish the same goals. This reduces the amount of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere. Beyond this, there are many geographic differences between China and the United States. One difference is the mountains that cover western China. These mountains are home to many animals that can only be found there. Another geographic difference between China and the United States is that the country of China has great weather for rice because of its humidity and rainy weather. In America, the weather is not adequate for rice, so many farmers plant crops that need cooler weather, such as corn and wheat. Overall, China and America had many differences, but together they are partners for life in making the world a better place.
One of the key contrasts between China and America lies in culture and structure. One aspect of this cultural difference is the greatly diverging reactions to climate change and environmental reforms in response to it. The PRC, while it has in the past been lax about environmental control, is now moving much faster to minimize or reverse environmental damage. In America, however, environmental reform has slowed, or in some places, even been stopped. This difference can be shown in the two nations' reactions to proposals for a cap-and-trade program. In 2017, the Chinese government began plans to implement such a tax by 2020. By contrast, the United States had proposed a carbon tax 8 years earlier in 2009. However, while the plan succeeded in the House of Representatives, it was unable to make it through the Senate. One explanation for these characteristics is the differing governmental structures. In China, the heavily centralized government allows for rapid change in many sectors, including but not limited to environmental reform and economic restructuring. In America, the bottom-up governmental structure and the two-party system combine to allow citizens great power to oppose environmental reforms.